Hello, dear friends. I hope you're doing really well. Let's go to the book of Numbers. We're in Numbers chapter 16, verse 35, 36. And this chapter was about a big rebellion against Moses and against Aaron, and obviously against God, because God chose Moses to be the leader, the intercessor, the one who talks to God and then tells the people what to do. God picked Moses. God picked Aaron to be the high priest, and Aaron and his children and they're high priest. So God picked them. But what happened? Some of the people, some leaders, 4 plus 250 say, you know, uh, the whole congregation is holy, so you stop, we're not going to listen to you anymore, and this and that. So they are against Moses and Aaron. Especially they have a particular, I don't know how to say, a particular, I don't know, hate or disrespect. They don't want Aaron and they don't want Moses, but they're going against God because God picked Aaron and God picked Moses, right? So this is a big, serious rebellion. But God has judged. He judged the first 40 leaders, Korah, Abiram, Dathan, and I don't know the other ones, in their tents. They were in their tents, and God opened the earth, and these people uh, went down alive to the place of the dead under the earth. And then there were other 250 leaders also supporting this rebellion outside the tabernacle with their fire pans, with their incense pans there, and God consumed them. So God has judged. God has judged. God has judged, and I would think that the people would think, oh, God has judged, these people were wrong. Maybe we should listen to God, maybe we should listen what Moses says, because God picked Moses. But no, that's not what's going to happen. It's a little unbelievable, but let's keep reading. Numbers 16:36. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, say to Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, that he shall take up the censers out of the midst of the blaze, for they are holy. And you scatter the burning coals abroad. As for the censers of these men who have sinned at the cost of their lives, let them be made into hammer sheets for a plating of the altar, since they did present them before the Lord, and they are holy, and they shall be for a sign to the sons of Israel. So Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers which the men who were burned had offered, and they hammered them out as a plating for the altar, as a reminder to the sons of Israel that no layman who is not of the descendants of Aaron should come near to burn incense before the Lord, so that he will not become like Korah and his company, just as the Lord had spoken to him through Moses. But now this is the next stage. After all this huge judgment, Korah and the other ones, the earth opening up and they and their families falling to the place of the dead, then I assume that was like an earthquake, and then the other 250 rebellious people outside the tabernacle, God consumed them. You would think that people would reflect, I don't know, be a little bit shook up or something, but no, let's read. But on the next day, all the congregation of the sons of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron, saying, you are the ones who have caused the death of the Lord's people. So now the congregation are blaming Moses and Aaron for the deaths of the rebellious people of them. They're blaming Moses and Aaron. So it means, dear friends, that the rebellion, it's kind of hard to say, but this rebellion is against Moses, Aaron, and God. They're rebelling against God. So let's keep reading. It came about, however, when the congregation had assembled against Moses and Aaron, that they turned toward the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. Then Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them instantly. Then they fell on their faces. Moses said to Aaron, Take your censer and put in it fire from the altar and lay incense on it, then bring it quickly to the congregation and make atonement for them, for wrath has gone forth from the Lord, a plague has begun. Then Aaron took it as Moses had spoken and ran into the midst of the assembly, for behold, a plague had begun among the people. So he put on the incense and made atonement for the people. He took his stand between the dead and the living, so that the plague was checked. But those who died by the plague were 14,700, besides those who died on account of Korah. Then Aaron returned to Moses at the doorway of the tent of meeting, for the plague had been checked. So this is it's kind of hard to read, all these things that happen, all these rebellions. It's hard to read because I would think that after Korah and the leaders and 250, that God judged them and took them out. You think that the people would reflect, or at least be a little bit careful with their words or with their thoughts, but no, they're blaming. You see, that's the thing, it's a human thing. We want to blame others for our flaws or our sins or whatever we've done and thought. We want to blame others. And in this case, the people are blaming Moses and Aaron. And it's not their fault. It is not their fault that they're going to stay in the wilderness for years. It's not their fault. It's their unbelief, right? But no, they're blaming Moses and Aaron for the death of the rebellious people. So in other words, they are supporting the rebellion of Korah. They are supporting Korah, and they just can't stand that Moses and Aaron. They can't stand the fact that Korah and the other rebelling people were judged and died. So God said to Moses and Aaron, just go to one side, and I'm going to start consuming them. Let me see the exact words of God. It says it came about, Lord spoke, saying, Get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them instantly. That's what the Lord said. Right away, Moses knew that the plague had started in the congregation, a plague. People started to die. But Moses told Aaron, Please, Aaron, go get, he said, take your censer, like the fire pan, where they burn the incense. Take your censer and put it fire from the altar. They would put a coal from the altar and then lay the incense on it. Then put the incense, which was like a powder or something like that, and then it would just, the incense would burn and cause, this great smell and the way incense is, right? So that's what Aaron did. Aaron took the coal from the altar, burned the incense, and went to the congregation and started walking there, because people were already dying from the plague that God had done. God was judging them. God was judging their rebellion. So Aaron started to go there. Aaron is interceding for them. The people, the congregation, wants to kill Moses and Aaron. I'm pretty sure they wanted to kill them. And yet Moses and Aaron are interceding for the people so that they don't die. It's unbelievable. What a story, right? Unbelievable. Moses and Aaron are interceding so that the people don't die. And even though God is judging already, God is judging because He's God. And he knows what He does. He's not an angry God. He's a righteous God, a righteous judge. So while God is judging, Aaron is going there with the incense, interceding, and at some point the plague stopped. But after the plague stopped, how many were dead? 14,700. So a lot of people died in this plague, not counting the rebellion of Korah. So in total, in 2 days, about 15,000 died. About 15,000 people, rebellious people. Okay, so that happened. The people, congregation going against Moses and Aaron interceding for them, trying to save their lives, God judging righteously like he always does. And next chapter is a little different though. The next chapter is I don't know how to say it, a nicer chapter. And we'll continue hopefully tomorrow. Bye-bye.